Hi, welcome. This is Kim Wade from Inner Gaze. Good morning, good morning. It's time to start our day. Good morning to you and you and you and you and you. Good morning. Good morning. I am jumping on here today because I'm so inspired. This is what we're talking about in the inner circle this month and this week specifically. And I wanted to just throw it out to everybody because it's such a valuable ponder and something to really look into for yourself. It's going to give you a lot of clarity. So let me just lay out the land here for you. It's August, which means it's our month where we're studying breath work and meditation. So we've defined what is meditation, what is breath work, and that sort of thing. We're diving deeply into the idea of when we start to sit with our breath and we start to sit with our meditation. And I always say meditation is not listening to meditations, okay? Meditation for me in this month is really sitting quietly with your own stuff, your own thoughts, okay? And if you're doing that, you start to get to what we talk about in the yamas and the niyamas of truth, satya. What is the truth? What is the truth about the way I breathe? What is the truth about the way my nervous system runs? What is the truth about what I believe about someone else or I believe about myself? What is the truth? So that's what we've been talking about. But this week and the rest of the month, I wanted to bring in this idea of Carl Jung and Joseph Campbell's work of the idea of archetypes. Now, what are archetypes? Archetypes are in these ideas is just a symbology, a way of us to connect to other people, right? If I say compassionate, right, we don't always understand what compassionate means. But if I say the mother, right, the loving mother, we kind of all have an idea of what a loving mother would be. Or if I said, a man who is, struggling to make a living for himself, that's like, I don't know what that means. But if I said a hero, right, a hero for his family, we know what that means. So this idea of symbology helps us understand how our personality is formed in a collective way, because we all understand these ideas. What is a lover? What is a prostitute? What is a sage? What is a wise woman? What is a child, right? We have these different awarenesses. So we can talk about archetypes or archetypal patterns as a way of connecting in a deep, deep unconscious way to start to get some clarity on ourselves. Where am I maybe not as strong as I'd like to be? Where am I maybe overly doing it? Maybe I'm warrioring through my life when I can soften a little bit and be more of a caregiver. So that's what we're playing with in the inner circle. But what I wanted to offer you today is the idea that your personality, right? Your personality, Joe Dispenza would say, is your personal reality. Your personality is your personal reality. So how do we make some changes in our personality, our personal reality, so that we can get on the path of that which we want to get on? So okay, that's where we're starting. I know it's a lot. That's where we're starting. But let me jump off just a little bit and tell you something. So in the idea of yoga, the four aims of life, and the idea of this work that I'm about to talk about, we all as human beings have a desire for certain things in our life, right? We have a desire for freedom, right? We have a desire for connection. We have a desire for like organized order, and we have a desire to be meaningful, to leave a mark on this world. Those are the four things that we really are seeking in our lifetime. Well, knowing that these archetypal patterns can help us understand why we are getting there or not getting there in certain areas. So we could take one of these categories, the mother, right? And we could say that she's the wicked stepmother or she's the loving care mother. So there's not a positive and a negative, but there is a branch of different ways of looking at it. Again, I know it's a ton, but isn't it exciting to kind of ponder these ideas? I know. It is. So hopefully you will go be the explorer archetype, the adventurer archetype, and you'll go do some research on your own. But basically what I'd like to talk to you today about are the three main categories, the three main archetypes that I'd like you to think about today. Okay. The first one is the ruler or the king or the queen. We all have this king and queen. It doesn't matter what gender you are. Carl Jung would talk about the animus and the anima, but we're not going to go deep like that today. We're just thinking thinking about the king and the queen. Who is the ruler of you? Does that person have much say? Are you in charge of yourself, or is the child or the rebel running the show? Okay, so how am I in the sense of standing up for my grace, in my ruler energy, my king or my queen? Okay. The second one I want you to ponder is the innocent, the child inside of you. You know, if you've been traumatized, maybe you have a wounded child. If you've been abandoned, maybe you have an orphaned child. Maybe you have a magical child, right? In your child archetype, in your child energy, how do you show up? Is this the part of you that doesn't want to grow up? Is this the part of you that's always procrastinating? Is this the part of you that's always sort of blaming other people? In your terms of how you show up in your child energy, right? How are you showing up? And the third one I wanted to talk about is the shadow. And we talked about this last week in the inner circle. The shadow is the parts of us that are unconscious, the dark parts of us, the parts of us that are unhealed. And in fact, it's running a lot of the show, right? If we're not dealing with some of the shadow parts of ourselves, it's putting us into relationships that are toxic or negative or narcissistic or abusive. If we're not dealing with it, it's keeping us stalled and we're unable to feel secure in ourselves or having healthy self-esteem. So doing the shadow work is really, really, really important. And how do you do the shadow work? That's what we've been talking about in the inner circle. Just acknowledging you have a shadow part, a part of you that you don't always want to look at, is a great way to start. Okay. So those three things I'd like you to practice today, thinking about how is the ruler, the king, queen energy in your life? Number two, how is the idea of you having the innocent, the child? Where are you showing up in sort of a clean way, or a wounded way, or an abandoned way, or whatever? And then third, how are you showing up in your shadow self? Okay. I hope this work is a deep benefit to you. If you're in the inner circle, we're going to be diving deeply into all 12 of these archetypes and how they branch off into many, 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 many more. This is obviously not an exhaustive list. This is just one little peek at it to help you understand, what is your personality? Are you aligned with the way you want to be aligned or not? Okay. And in the way of our relationships with other people, in the way of our relationships to the world around us, but more specifically into the relationship with our own self, that body and mind, right? I did it opposite. Mind and body, mind and body. When those two are in sync, when we are living coherently, we are walking with bliss. We are walking with peace. And that's the goal. Okay. Deep bows. Much love to you all. Reach out if you have any questions, and I will see you next time. Namaste.